Okay, so ready to dive into something that I gotta say sounds like it's straight out of science fiction.
Oh, yeah.
But
Buckle up.
what if? What if it's not?
Right.
We're talking UAPs, but we're not just talking about, like, those blurry lights in the sky kind of sightings.
No, no, no.
You've brought us some material that hints at something way bigger.
Way bigger, yeah. Like government recovering actual craft.
Crashed or maybe even landed, non-human craft. I mean, come on.
I know, right? It's wild. What really gets me is, like, the sources this time. They're not some blurry photos or shaky videos from who knows where.
You're right.
This is coming from inside, like deep inside the intelligence community.
Yeah. And the big one, the one that really kicked this whole thing off, is that article from the debrief.
Right, right.
They're known for, like, really solid reporting on science and tech and all that defense stuff.
Yeah, they don't mess around.
No, they don't. And then you see that headline, intelligence officials say U.S. has retrieved craft of non-human origin. I mean, whoa.
Paradigm shift, maybe?
Maybe he's right. So that's our mission today.
Lay it on me.
We're cutting through all the noise, all the speculation, all the, the hype. We're going to look at how believable these claims actually are, and we're going to try to give you a clear, grounded take on something that could literally rewrite everything we think we know.
It's a big one.
It's a big one.
And I think it's important to, come at this with a healthy dose of skepticism. Like, we're not just going to accept any of this at face value.
Of course not.
But we also need to, really be open to the possibility that, that maybe we don't know everything.
Exactly. So where do we even begin?
Well, I think the best place to start is with the man himself, David Grusch.
Okay, so David Grusch, former intelligence official turned whistleblower. And when we say former intelligence official, we're not talking about some guy who, fixed printers in the basement of the Pentagon.
No, this is not some IT guy, right?
Right.
Grusch is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Decorated combat officer. Served in Afghanistan. And then he goes on to work at the NGA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency.
Oh.
The NRO, National Reconnaissance Office, these are the big leagues. And get this, he was on the UAP task force itself.
So if anyone's going to know about this stuff, it's this guy.
Right.
And what he's alleging is pretty wild. He says the U.S. government, they've got their hands on, actual physical, intact, and partially intact craft. Not from this planet, not just rumors, not just, stories. We're talking physical objects.
Yeah, this isn't like some blurry photo. This is the real deal he's talking about.
And he claims that this has been going on for decades, decades, involving multiple government agencies, and it's all been, illegally kept from Congress.
Yeah, under wraps. A big old secret.
Mm-hmm.
Big, if true, right?
It's true, yeah.
And I think what makes it even more compelling is Grusch isn't the only one saying this. The debrief article, they bring in other voices from the intelligence community who back up his story. We're talking people who have held some serious security clearances, people who, frankly, have a lot to lose by speaking out.
So we've got Grusch, right, and he's telling us this crazy story, almost too crazy to believe.
Right.
But then you read on, and they're bringing in these other people.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, other people who are, in the know are saying the same thing. That's when it really, clicked for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing that makes this so compelling, right? It's one thing to have a single whistleblower, even someone as, seemingly credible as Grusch, but when you start to get corroboration from other people deep within these secretive intelligence agencies, it really makes you kind of sit up and take notice. And the debrief, to their credit, they back Grusch up with some serious heavy hitters. You've got Carl Nell. He's a retired Army colonel. He actually worked with Grusch on the UAP task force. And he basically says, this is a quote, he calls Grusch beyond reproach.
Oh, wow.
Which, in military terms, that is about as close to a gold star endorsement as you can get.
Right. These people know how to spot a phony, right?
They've seen it all.
They've seen it all. And they're saying that, this guy's the real deal. And then you've got, Jonathan Gray.
Right.
Who's an intelligence officer at NSIC.
At NSIC, yeah, the National Air and Space Intelligence Center. Which
it sounds important.
It sounds very important, right?
And he goes on record confirming they've got their hands on exotic materials.
Exotic materials, yeah.
That they're, actively trying to reverse engineer, figure out.
Trying to figure out, yeah. Non-earthly tech.
Yeah.
And it's not just, some vague talk about weird metal scraps. They're talking about, according to this article, they're talking about materials with properties that, defy our current understanding of physics.
What?
Yeah.
Get it out of here.
Like stuff that could revolutionize
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yep.
Energy production, transportation, I mean, who knows? It's like, and Gray even hints that this analysis, the attempt to decode this tech it's not just us. It's happening on a global scale.
That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what are other countries finding? What stage are they at in figuring this stuff out?
It's like it's almost too much to process. And then you bring in someone like Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence,
Big title.
who, by the way, is no stranger to this whole UAP world.
No, not at all.
And he's briefed Congress on these alleged retrievals. Are you kidding me? Like, this is huge.
It is huge. And this is where I think we need to take a step back for a second and really consider the implications here. If even a fraction of what Grusch and these other officials are claiming is true, it throws everything we thought we knew about, well, everything out the window.
It's like that scene in Contact.
Oh yeah.
When they finally get the message and it's like blueprints for something so advanced they can barely even understand it.
Right.
But this is real life.
Potentially.
Oh my God. It's not just about, satisfying our curiosity about what's out there. I mean, this has profound implications for our understanding of physics, technology, our place in the universe even.
Yeah. And Dr. Gary Newland, who's a professor at Stanford who's been consulted on some of this stuff.
Wow.
He compares it to the invention of the microprocessor, right? He says the technology potentially embedded in these objects could represent hundreds of technology revolutions ahead of us.
That's not catching up. That's like being teleported into the future.
Exactly. It's mind-blowing.
That's terrifying, but amazing.
It is both, right? I mean, it's exhilarating.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. It's also, we have to think about the risks here.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right. I mean, any technology this advanced could be weaponized. Potentially talking about capabilities that could make our current weapon systems look like toys.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got potential benefits that are beyond our wildest dreams.
Right.
We've got risks that are terrifying we can't even really comprehend.
Right.
And this is all happening under this veil of secrecy. Why all the clandestine operations? And why are whistleblowers like Grusch, these people who are literally putting their careers and their reputations on the line, why are they being met with such resistance?
It's a good question.
Why the cover-up? It's maddening.
It's incredibly complex. I mean, I can see the argument for national security, at least initially.
Right.
If you stumble upon technology that seems to defy the laws of physics, you might want to keep it quiet until you understand it a bit better, especially if you're worried about, other nations, adversaries getting their hands on it. But at the same time, if these allegations are true, we're talking about illegally withholding this information from Congress, which is a colossal breach of trust. And it makes you wonder, what else is going on?
Right. What else are they not telling us? It's where do you draw the line, right?
Yeah.
At what point does national security just become an excuse for a lack of transparency?
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about something this big, this potentially world-changing.
It goes way beyond traditional ideas of defense.
Way beyond. Right.
And it makes me think about those whistleblower protections.
Oh, yeah.
That were enacted as part of the FY 2023 National Defense Authorization Act.
Right.
This case, Grusch's case, this is going to be the test.
It's the test case. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, right?
All right.
Because it's will people be willing to come forward now?
Right.
Knowing that there are, at least on paper, more robust legal protections for them.
Right.
Or will that fear of retaliation, the fear of basically committing professional suicide, will that win out? It's going to be fascinating to see.
Because the implications of this are huge, even if we don't have all the answers yet.
We're talking about potentially upending our understanding of physics, of technology, our place in the universe even. Just imagine for a second if even a fraction of this is true.
It's both exhilarating and terrifying. Think about it. We could be on the verge of confirming what humans have wondered since we first looked up at the stars, right? And that alone.
Oh, my God.
But with that confirmation comes, a pretty heavy burden of responsibility, right?
Yeah. Are you ready for that?
Exactly.
How would that knowledge impact our society, our religions, our understanding of ourselves?
That's a lot.
Oh, my gosh. All those big questions that like science fiction has been grappling with for years are suddenly like right on our doorstep.
They're real. And they're not like, hypothetical anymore. These are questions that deserve serious thought, open discussion.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we as a global community, that's where we need to start.
Yeah.
We can't just bury our heads in the sand and pretend this isn't happening.
Exactly.
Right.
We got to be demanding answers.
Yes.
And not just to satisfy our curiosity, but because the stakes are so high.
They're huge.
This could change everything.
This deep dive today, man, it's taken us into some uncharted territory.
It really has.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Honestly. What started with this one article has opened up this Pandora's box of possibilities and, potential dangers even.
It is like a Pandora's box, right?
It is.
So where do we go from here?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
It really is.
I think the most important thing is, stay informed, stay curious, keep asking those tough questions.
Yeah.
Because, the truth is out there.
The truth is out there somewhere.
Somewhere. Oh, man. I love it. Well, on that note, I think we're going to have to leave it there for today.
Yeah.
But this is definitely one to watch, folks.
Oh, absolutely.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.
I like it.
Thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure.
And the main issues that Congress and others have been concerned about are basically safety of flight concerns and counterintelligence issues. But of course, there's always the question of, is there something else that we simply do not understand that might come extraterrestrially?